Yay.
Yay!
So,
Impromptu. It's an
yeah,
impromptu hang.
spontaneous.
Yeah, that's my jam too. Like I love everything on the whim.
Cool.
That's how I roll.
Yeah. So I watched a video by a unbelievable gentleman that we're going to be speaking to in a couple weeks. What's Sid's last name, Leela?
Friedman.
Sid Friedman. If you haven't checked him out, you might want to check him out. He's got a lot of amazing YouTube videos, and he's really, really good about being present with whatever's arising, with feeling into it
Hmm.
versus trying to resist it, change it, make it go away. None of that.
Beautiful.
So I wrote a little something uh, and sent it to Leela. So I was hoping Leela could maybe read it.
Yay.
Sure. Michael wrote, thoughts resisting versus feeling into. I just got off the phone with Leela, and we were discussing the difference between wrestling with a thought versus trying or trying to change it, make it better, or get rid of it, versus genuinely being with a thought or feeling it in a curious, open, authentic, and honest way. The two approaches are as opposite as day and night. Trying to change is trying to change. Genuinely being with the thought or feeling isn't doing because you're not trying to change anything. Feeling into is like when a child grabs your leg and wants to talk to you. You instinctively, naturally bend down and listen to them so you can give them your full attention. Doing so, the child feels heard. And when we genuinely feel heard, there's a natural relaxation that accompanies it. But that doesn't mean that what's being discussed is easy. Beautiful, Michael.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you, Leila, for
That
the
is
reading.
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, this is the ultimate neutralizer when you're aware of the sensation of feeling without thought. It completely dissolves everything. It dissolves everything. It's the dissolver. And it's like the mirror turns around on itself. If you're aware of it, then you precede it.
It's
You're
beautiful.
prior to it. You're the source of it. You're illuminating it. What is it without you being aware of it? It doesn't appear to exist. You are the source. And so that then you're not afraid of anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like facing your fears in a way.
Yeah, everything's allowed to be. Yeah, when there's no resistance, there's no suffering. The resistance was identifying as separate from it. And so then it seemed like a threat.
Yeah. Yeah. We innocently think that we can't handle fully feeling, subconsciously. And going to thought or dissociating makes us feel like we have, control. It's just an innocent, sort of running to fantasy, running to thought,
Mm-hmm.
uh, to dull the intense sensations. And
Yeah.
we tell a
Mm-hmm.
story about it.
Yeah. And then there's a downward spiral. But it's so funny because the thought that came prior didn't even happen and it's just a new thought. And then it's like blaming the other thought that didn't even happen, which was like the film strip being pieced together in the illusion of linear time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the psychological continuum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how cool to really inquire into what's really happening. It's like all there is perceiving impersonal sensations.
Mm-hmm.
That's all there is.
Yeah. It's like an intimacy with what is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the Gnostic Gospels, the senses are heaven. It's once it's recognized, this isn't separate. This is all one totality appearing to function, one pure consciousness. It's just you making love to yourself through every sensation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's just coming out of nowhere.
You giving birth and death to yourself every moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is like being born every timeless moment.
Yeah, that's the true born again.
Yeah.
So I just had a few words to say about, because I know in some spiritual circles, practice is a dirty word. And my thought is, well, I guess you don't walk then, because that was a learned practice response. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you would speak without learning to practice as a child.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, practices are very natural and normal and
Yeah.
nothing to be shunned. If it's useful,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. It may not be useful for you. That's fine. That's not what we're saying. But there can be a resonance with what we're sharing that,
Mm-hmm.
oh, rather than reacting to the thought and trying to change it, what's it like to actually just be with it in a real way?
Just allow it to be there.
Like
Mm-hmm.
fully, like
Mm-hmm.
give it your
I
full.
know, yeah. I've told that to someone. I said, let it drown you. Let it eat you alive.
Mhm. It's like a portal.
Yeah, oh, I like that.
Mm,
It is. It's all a homecoming. It's just coming up to be home. Everything's home. If you don't allow it to be home, it'll keep coming up. Like what you resist persists
yeah,
because it's all it.
yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah.
kid's not going to go away if he's tugging at your skirt or your
Mm-hmm.
trousers and you ignore him. He ain't going away. He'll come back. So, you know what I mean? And the joke is it ends up being yourself that you're
Yeah. It's all you, boo.
Mhm.
When you figure out it's everything's you, it's like, what is there to be scared of? What the
it's
hell?
all you, boo.
It's like believing in the boogeyman or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
To me, this is a very practical conversation. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just like you ask your husband to go get the mail or something. I mean, it's common sense. Of course, there is no process, but at the same time, there is a process. So we can, but leaning towards one or the other is,
It's just another duality. It's another separation.
yeah.
Innocently.
Yeah, innocently, because
Yeah.
there's no choice in the resonance, the resonance that you render. So you resonate in the dream. This is all mental imagined. So it's resonating on a frequency and then rendering the evidence of it. And you can't help what is being, resonated with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just divine flow, spontaneously appearing just like in a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jenny,
Yeah.
I love what you say about in a way you did what's called a reframe. If you study like Tony Robbins or NLP, a reframe is looking at the same thing in a different way from a different
Mm-hmm.
perspective. And I love your reframe about that the warning signs, the signals of, warning, warning, something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of
Yeah.
being a bad thing and something that you like a fire you need to
Mm-hmm.
put out, it's gets your attention to be present with it.
That's what fear is. Fear is the intuitive navigation system, GPS, waking you up from the dream. That's what wakes you up from the nightmare at night. the fear, the hardcore fear. And so it's the catalyst to waking up, the resistance, everything.
Yeah.
It's all a gift.
Yeah, it's a clue. It's trying to tell you something.
Yeah. Fear, you can notice it anytime a fear comes up and you're like, oh, wait, was I thinking a divided thought or a separated thought? Or was I, it was obviously something that was, the fear was telling me, this isn't happening. This isn't real. This isn't separate. Wake up. That's all it's saying every time. It's beautiful. So it's a tool.
And like all tools, the more you use it, the better you get at it. So I would encourage you to give yourself permission to not analyze this. Oh, well, that's a doing, and who is there to do? No. Just try it if it resonates. Try it on for size. It doesn't cost anything. By being present, by being present, you may discover like something may open up for you that like, oh, it's a different energy.
Yeah, it's shaking things up is what it's doing. You're getting out of that stagnation. It popped me right out of that meing and being process
Mm-hmm.
because it's not in the thoughts. So once you realize that, you're like, well, what else is there? But if this can't be figured out, and you're like, oh, sense perceptions. You learn a lot from that place, that sort of gateless gate of just noticing, just being.
Mm-hmm. Just being. Yeah. The more I focused on the feeling, I'm alive, this aliveness, this sentience without thought, which completely destroys everything. I mean, it shows you your original face instantly. But the more I did that, the more it's in the foreground or it's loud. It's like deep sleep while awake. It's like very obvious this isn't happening. There's not even any objects or bodies or forms in this tea room. It's just all this pure consciousness. One, there's nothing else. So it just gets louder and louder.
Yeah, and it's almost like grace because it's relentless. It will not stop until you just see it, just be with it fully. I mean,
Mhm.
that's a story, but
Mhm.
that's how it seemed here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that earnestness is just the intuition saying it's already done. It's already happened. So even that hardcore seeking, it's inevitable because it already is.
Mhm.
So it's nothing's wrong with any of that. It's fucking beautiful. All of it. Oh my gosh. That's
There,
why I call it a love story.
yes.
Mhm.
And there
Yeah.
seems to be something that will, I think Leela is such a great example because, like, if you watch her first video, she was really uncomfortable. It wasn't like, oh boy, this is fun, but there was something compelling in her. And that's how it is. If you have that compulsion, you will go through anything. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like being on fire and running to the water. Yeah, for me it was hardcore. I was obsessed. I was like, I've got to fucking figure this out. I was like on my knees, like
Yeah.
completely devoted, completely.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I would like stare with diffused vision. I was exploring the senses after I realized it wasn't going to be a thought.
Mm-hmm.
You just really get comfortable in that place of unknowing.
Mm-hmm.
You see that that's how it always is. Only a thought says, I know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
You know, and I would just look at an
Mm-hmm.
object, just stare at an object, or with diffused vision, for example. There, you can also listen, just listen,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of just have that. There's a certain resonance of you could call it curiosity, a suspended state, a place of asking a question but not getting the answer,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and just being with the whatever comes up in that, like Yeah, it's like a pregnant place.
Yay. Mhm.
And just to circle back to Sid, is that so what I liked about it is like right now, it was just like, okay, I can hear Jenny's background sounds beautifully. Like kind of, right, Jenny, whenever you're in the tea house, your
Mhm.
microphone, so it's this cacophony, but I can't quite hear what they're saying. Like I know
Yeah,
people are talking, so
it's in the peripheral.
it's
That's how everything
beautiful.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, so in a way we could say that represents, just to tell a story, our mind, our active
Mhm.
mind. So we're aware of that. I can, we can hear those voices. So what is here in a way that's always here, that's
Yeah.
the,
What's perceiving this?
yeah,
That's permanent, that never goes away.
yeah.
Yeah, all of those questions hit the target every time. It's what's perceiving this? And just like in the dream at night, what is there? All there is perceiving sensations, and it's one. It's can't be separate. And this is all pure consciousness from which all of the appearances, all of the sounds, tastes, all the sensations, thoughts are arising and disappearing. But you're the permanent, you're the substratum. Mm-hmm.
And that's not a doing. That's the sort of the realization.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do to be what you already are.
Yeah, it's too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Lazy, oh, I like your thing, Leela. Lazier than lazy.
Yeah.
Yes, effortless. You can't try to be. You are.
Well, it turns out that's sort of the nasty, cruel little joke, is that the trying to find out what you are appears to veil it.
Yeah, because that implies this isn't it. Yeah. Trying is effort and implies that it's separate, and then the mind, the thoughts will arise to bring proof or evidence of that. I need to look for it, which is just a distraction because when there's no thoughts, it's too obvious. You don't exist as an individual and it's game over. So those cute little thoughts that keep busy with more thoughts of looking, but you can't get it with another thought. It's not a thought. This is non-conceptual.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like you're sort of in that suspended just beingness, and the mind still goes and it can say like, is something going to happen? Sort of waiting, and nothing ever happens. It's just you can see through the thoughts, you know, um, see that they're arising out of nothing. And
Yeah.
you can't see this the same way after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
Yeah,
see everything for how it is.
yeah, I love how Peter Brown, much like Sid, they both sort of have, I noticed, a boyish enthusiasm for what's arising. Both Peter and Sid. Well, what is that? Like there was a magical quality, like a boyish
Mhm.
curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
That's a completely different energy and vibe than worry or fear.
Mm-hmm. Because it's curious, it's playful. Just like that poem that I wrote where it's like tickling you because you're the pure consciousness and all of this is just appearing and disappearing. All of these sensations tickling you. And you're uninvolved, you're untouched, you're untainted, you're immortal.
Mm.
And none of it's really happening. None of this is happening. It's
I
like an
can't
imaginary play.
I can't remember. Was it the Bhagavad Gita or the Vedas? But one of them said, fire cannot burn you, water cannot wet you, sword cannot cut you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just like the screen at the movie theater, the fire doesn't burn the screen. The images dancing aren't even really happening. It's an illusion. So you're not the character.
Yay.
You're not even in the movie.
So that's a freedom because it's like when you discover you're not the character, somehow now you can love the character.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, I remember seeing it for the first time, like even in the mirror. I was like, "Oh my God." And she's really cool. What the hell? It was so busy with like should and shouldn't and all that trash that went in the dumpster fire, which
That's
was beautiful. It was all beautiful.
yeah, you're like, oh my God, I'm really not thinking my thoughts. Like there's nothing there to think them.
And it's so literal too. It's like you've never had a thought. Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah.
I can't grasp anything.
Yeah, it's so immediate.
Yeah, over before it starts.
And you're like, oh my God, there really is not a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, what is it? Where is the problem without a thought for real? Like even not having one for 5 seconds is so obvious. There is no problem.
Yeah. And then a thought comes up like, am I there yet? And that's laughable.
Oh, that's cute. That, yeah. When I could see that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is darling. That is just adorable.
There was almost for me a morning of that whole seeking play.
Mm,
And
that's funny you said that. Yes. Go ahead, sorry.
yeah, that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, I remember there felt like at first like almost like a void or something, like something was, because it was so busy all day with the worrying, and then when that was gone it was like holy shit.
Now what do I do?
Yeah, it was like all this energy now to like,
Mhm.
yeah,
To be.
to be to be to revel in, yeah. But it was just amazing how I could see how that was distracting me from the absence of the identifying with the character. That's, it was just playfully not wanting to see itself, and then there was that anticipation and excitement building up because I knew it was getting too obvious. And then the cute little trying to hold on for one more moment with having another worry, and it was too late, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah. And then this abiding in this feeling, this aliveness, non-conceptual, pure beingness is the contentment. It's the always fulfilled and satisfied no matter what, even if there's a pain in the body. It's not, every sensation is equally impersonal, just appearing and disappearing,
Mhm.
not resisted or not grasped or identified with or attached to. So even when there's, yeah, no matter what's going on in the dream,
Yeah.
it's just, it's
I
free.
I feel like there's a lot of vulnerability that can be felt there too. And it's sort of like to tell a story, what we avoided, the futility and the wildness, like just not
Hmm.
doing anything, not being comforted by what we think we understand.
Yeah. Yeah. And how beautiful too, as a love story or a romantic movie, where you, as the formless infinite that can't be seen, you know, got to feel what it was like to be human, to be
Yeah.
mortal, to be finite, to live and die. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah. Yeah. Realize it's all play.
Yeah. And just like in deep sleep where you're all alone and you're the unmanifest, that's the Pada Brahman, in this beautiful dream of making love to yourself through all of these impersonal sensations. You can see yourself, you know, through these appearances of what you're not, of the opposite form, of taste, of touch, of qualities, because you're beyond all of this. You don't have qualities appearing as all of this.
The quality, the quality less appearing as all qualities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the miracle.
Yeah, infinite qualities.
The thing we wanted to get away from is what we wanted.
I know everything is what you want. Whatever's appearing to happen is what you're longing for. Yeah, even if you don't think you want it, even if there's the thought, I don't want this, you want this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made a little note. I was gonna read it, a little post-it.
Mm-hmm.
I love these giant post-its.
I love that. Yeah.
Feeling, so this was a noticing. We talk about noticing. This was something I noticed. I said feeling into whatever's happening is available at any time. Anytime. That's so great, right? It's so universal. It's like having it in your pocket. And
Mm-hmm.
so if you get a little stressed, you can feel into it. It's available to you. You just maybe like don't know about it. Like you didn't know you could feel into it. Then you watch a
Mm-hmm.
video like this with us three crazies.
Mhm.
Like, wow, that never really dawned on me. Like I've never actually
Mm-hmm.
really been present and just felt into what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote, and like any practice, the more you do it, the better you get.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's instant peace, and it's because it's yourself, that presence that you are, the conscious presence. It's not identifying with what's appearing to happen.
Yeah. And
As
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what I feel to emphasize is you have to actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important, really. You can think about feeling into it. You can go, wow, it sounds like a good idea. But
Mm-hmm.
no, that's not what's
Mhm.
being shared. You actually have to do it because you don't know what's
Yeah.
going to come up until you do.
Yeah, even if you like stop and you close your eyes and you feel the feeling without thought, just completely feeling
Mhm.
without thought, it completely dissolves. It transmutes instantly. It's crazy. It's like with everything. Mhm.
Yeah, I sought for years, and I would hear people say, "You got to go into the body, go into the body," and I would just like put that to the side because I wanted the masculine way. I wanted to realize the emptiness, but there's a feminine aspect that allows the masculine. Now, it's a beautiful
Mhm.
balance of emptiness and form. And it to me for here it seemed like I needed that balance, to get to this perspective, practically speaking.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, the more I did it, the more everything dissolved. It just, and then now this is just this aliveness. It's just all there is. It's just pure consciousness, and it's in love, and that's it. There's nothing else.
Hmm.
And it's like now it's like deep sleep.
Hmm.
Nothing's really happening.
When you have the capacity to feel, it's almost like it's a permission slip for the emptiness to be seen.
Hmm. Yeah, there's thoughts have an addictive quality to them. Early on,
Mhm.
we begin to just to tell a story, the innocence begins to innocently identify. And we can't explain anything about that, but it does seem to be the case where it loses touch with itself and goes off. It's the prodigal son from the Bible. It's the prodigal son where he goes out looking, for himself and he ends up coming back home. So this is like an imaginary playtime, a journey.
Yay.
Yes.
It is. It's so cool. And with the practice thing, everything's a practice. Everything. Everything is a practice. Everything is the way. It's always, it's every way. So there's everything that appears to be done is a ritual to resonate. That's all it is. And this is like the dream is like a radio station. So it's like turning the dial with resonance. So everything's practice. No one, it's, people can deny that that there's a practice, but everything that's appearing is a practice.
Mm-hmm. You could also just
um,
call it an expression,
yeah, I heard someone say, well, there's no one to meditate. Well, that's like telling a blind man what the sky looks like. This is a direct experience. So meditation reveals that there's no one to meditate and that everything's the meditation. Everything's the meditation.
Well, there's also no one to eat, but that still happens.
Yay.
Yeah, you better stop eating because there's no one to eat. Why are you eating?
Right,
Yeah, I
exactly.
mean, can you drive a car? I very much remember practicing learning how to drive, my dad sticks
Yeah.
in a parking lot, a
Hmm.
VW Beetle, in a parking lot and getting pulled over by a cop because he saw this
Yeah.
VW bug doing circles like herky jerky in a parking lot at night. And so the cop pulled us over. And my dad's like, oh shit. But the cop was cool. He goes, well, I'm just trying to teach my son how to drive a stick.
Oh, funny. That's awesome. Exactly. Everything is the practice. And this is inevitable because it already is. This is already realized. It's already self-evident. It doesn't need to realize itself.
Yeah, to say that no, who is there to do that or who is there to say that implies that there could be someone there to
Mm-hmm.
say that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and everything happens without, an entity.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no choice. Also, like in the dream, like a dream at night, where these with these qualities that appear with the character, the personality qualities. Um, some characters appear as teachers, some appear as, you know, speakers, some appear as really quiet people. So I mean, you can't help whether you download ideas to make a teaching, or to make or to show, hold someone's hand through, you know, a dying process or something. Like there's no choice whether or not to do that. It's a spontaneous and personal quality arising in the pure consciousness that you are, and you're not
Beautiful.
even doing it. Yeah.
Beautiful. That is gorgeous.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. There's so many claims out there where it's just a beautiful, arrogant quality of a personality just expressing, when there's some arrogant thing, aversions to words or saying, you know, or claiming it's all unconditional, but then wait, there's these conditions. You can't say that. You can't say awareness. So all of that is just playful.
Leela, can you imagine if you and I were walking through that tea house that Jenny's at and we overheard her talking?
Hell yeah.
I would be listening. I'd get somewhere close.
I'll be like, I want to hang out with her.
I
Yeah.
would. If I was going up to the counter to get my coffee and I heard that, I would be like a magnet. I'd just sit down and say,
Me
can I sit
too.
here?
Me too. Oh, actually, that did happen one time. I was doing a one-on-one Zoom here, And someone answered one of my questions because I was asking what Nisargadatta's master's name was or whatever, and he
Oh,
answered, and then we had this awesome conversation. It was cool.
oh wow. That would not
Yay.
happen where I live.
Mm-hmm.
You can't talk about Nisargadatta and somebody be like,
Oh,
no.
I know. Oh my God, you're right. You'd be crucified. I mean,
Mhm.
you'd be, or burned at the stake. That's it.
Yeah.
Nisar who?
You're a witch.
Nisar what?
Yeah, this is a very spiritual town over here.
Mm, beautiful.
Wow, this is amazing. I'm so excited. Anytime y'all want to do an impromptu meeting, I'm down. So
Yay.
fun. Mhm.
Yeah, we were just inspired by Sid, and I mean, I've known about this, and I didn't want to say anything about it because it sounds like a process, right? And I was scared to say something that wasn't too, non-dual enough. But
Which is hilarious. That's the oxymoron. It's like, wait, everything's included.
yeah, so this whole year for me, there was tr wanting to say the right words, and there was an integration of seeing, okay, that's it doesn't matter what it is, that's it too.
Hmm.
Even innocently wanting to say the right words, but there's no right words. Even
Mm-mm.
saying that this is it isn't, it's no more clear than saying it's not,
Yeah. It's all inclusive. It includes everything. And just like when people say that the uncompromising way is not a way, that's still a way. That is a way. Everything's a method or practice to recognize, to wake up, you know?
Yeah.
Everything's the alarm clock, it's everything's the clue.
Yeah. You can't escape the relentless process that seems to be
Mm-hmm.
happening, like no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to put your pants on one leg at a time.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
I can see, go
innocent.
ahead.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna say all of it's innocent. So why would we demonize it and say no, nothing's here?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there is something here, okay, at the same time.
Yeah.
The mind may not like that, but it's the wholeness of this paradox.
Yeah.
Mm,
I
that's
like
beautiful.
that. It is whole. Yeah, beautiful. It includes everything.
The love revolution.
Yay, the love revolution. Woohoo!
Already free.
Already free.
Wow. Oh, Leela, she sang.
Oh my God.
Beautiful. That was beautiful.
I love it. That was just, yeah,
And like an
it just
angel.
happened.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
we got to start singing together on Zoom. So that'd be fun. We can sing this instead of say
We were talking about and
it.
I
Hmm.
remember trying to be like understand it, mentally, but it sort of correlates with that alive, electric, tingly aliveness that's
Yeah.
sensations. I guess if it had a sound, that would be.
Hmm. It's so beautiful, and it's in the word home. Home. It's already home. And the other thing is like this was even a somatic technique, or when I was teaching Tantra yoga, we would do like the Taoist tapping and all these little techniques to shut the mind up, to say shut the fuck up to the thoughts. But one of them was humming, because you can't have a thought while you're humming. And so it takes you into that pure presence, that pure, you know, that
Yeah.
flow, which like when you're making music, when you're making art and you're in the flow, the way.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you
a
begin.
second,
Oh, sorry.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
Go
You
ahead.
go, you go.
Well, I was just gonna say there was a noticing here, and I just le like less is more. Like the when you said that, Jenny, and I went,
Yeah.
That tells you everything.
I know. It sums it up right there. All you got to say is, that's it. It's
It's
delicious.
the high, exactly. When you here, try this. I just made this. I baked this bread. It's warm. Take a bite.
Yeah.
Let me know what you think. Put some
Oh
butter
my
on it. You take a
gosh.
bite and you go, mmm.
I know. And when you're not separate from it, you are it.
Yeah.
You're making love to yourself through the taste of chocolate, through everything, every sensation. The
Yeah.
stomach growling, the random thoughts, the look in someone's eye. Everything is it. Everything.
Yeah. And that's all that exists.
Mm-hmm. Is existence itself. All alone. All one and just for fun.
Yay.
I know I wrote Jack today that how beautiful it is to, as yourself, all alone, appear as friends, hanging out. How
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. It's like, how is this possible?
I know. And it's not even happening. This is wild. This is wild.
I like your friend Jack. I saw a post of his and he uses like more words than I do, but basically what he was saying was that
He just texted.
oh perfect, he heard me.
Oh,
Um
cute.
is that like what I took from what he wrote was that any belief, any belief, whether it's non-duality, Christianity, Trump, sex, and drugs, rock and roll, money, it doesn't matter what it is. Your true nature doesn't have a belief, any belief.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. How beautiful. Yay.
Well, that was like I wanted to summarize like what he wrote because he used big words, and here my brain goes to mush if I see too many big words. But I read it like I felt into it, and I go, oh, he's saying anything is a belief. Done.
Yeah, done.
Mm-hmm. Done. Case closed.
The problem is that we're not lazy enough in a way. I mean, just to put it in a story, but like it's that effortless.
It's that everyone. This is so funny, this synchronicity, because I just texted him that we're talking about him, but I said earlier that, it appears that we're spread out all over the no place, because there's no time and space, but it seems like we're across the country from each other, but we're on the couch in our PJs, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Well,
he just sent a gif of that on
oh,
the couch in PJs.
but really, if I just look at my direct experience, like right here, like take a look, like Jenny, your face, and Leela, your face, and my face, they're all appearing in the same place.
Yes, and pure consciousness. Yeah. It can't be separate.
So what's seeing the Jenny face, I notice, and what's seeing the Leela face, I notice, and what's seeing the Michael face is not three separate things.
Yeah. I know. I try to separate this, try to get outside of this. Yeah.
Yeah, only thoughts divide.
Yeah.
Arrogance of believing that you know what the hell this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Which is innocent. Nobody is arrogant,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No one's doing that either. No, yeah, no doer.
It's just fun. It's just fun to pretend.
Yeah.
Period. That's
What
it.
is it like to be arrogant? What is it like to
Yeah.
think I know what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Could
What
you
is
imagine not knowing what that's like? Like, of course we would want to do this.
Yeah.
Be lost and found.
I know this is so fun. It's such a celebration. Life is a freaking party. It
Even when it's
is.
not.
Yeah, even when there's pain, even when you're you're barfing in the gas station. What is that like? And then you tap in, and what's really happening here? All there is perceiving sensation, perceiving,
Mhm.
and you're untouched. This pure awareness that you are is, uninvolved with what's happening. It's so obvious.
I think one of the things that settled things down over here was just how wrong I was. You know what I mean? Like what I thought this was. I realized it was like a blind man in a dark room,
Yeah.
feeling. Do you guys remember the elephant? There's like a famous cartoon where all these scientists are blindfolded and they're touching different parts of an elephant.
Oh yeah,
Oh, I know
yeah.
an elephant. It feels like a snake, said the guy front. Oh, it's really hard and sharp, says the guy feeling the tusk.
Uh-huh.
It's like it's whatever you think it is. That's the
Yeah, it
amazing thing
is.
about this.
That is so beautiful too, because it's infinite. It's empty potential. It can be anything. So it's infinite meaning. And it's only the meaning you give it, which is changeable and malleable and healable,
Mhm.
like transmutable. It's never doomed. It's never, it's
Yeah.
not solid. It's not real. It's make believe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the relative is the absolute.
Mhm.
Like the man holding the tusk, that's what an elephant is to him. It
Mhm.
it is.
Yeah, it is. That's all there is.
So he didn't get it wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
But
it's all
right, but
right.
you can imagine the comedy that would ensue if the guy holding the tail of the elephant said, "No, no, it's like your hair. It's like your hair." And the guy holding, "No, it's not. My hair is not hard and solid." And the two
Yeah.
argue about what the elephant is really like.
And it's just like you all alone talking to yourself.
So that's why when we say everything, we mean it. We mean
Yeah.
if you say it feels like a tusk, it feels like a tusk because that's your experience. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's every experience. It's infinite expression. It's, you know, the
To,
infinite experiencing what it's like to have infinite perspectives.
Hmm.
to say that illusion or delusion is bad or wrong, that's what everything is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
duality is the mirror that singularity sees itself in. This is all for fun. Appearing is icons on the screen that you are. And then you recognize that you're the screen and the icons are an illusion that you're permeating and making love to yourself with. Not separate from.
Demonizing what arises is just another thing that arises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Summon the demons. Oh, amazing. And it's
Yeah.
just a thought. What is that? What is anything without a thought? It's amazing.
Yeah. I like Sid's innocent, boyish enthusiasm
Mhm.
because it's sort of like an acknowledgement of whatever the thought or feeling is in the foreground, and then saying, now what's holding that? Talking about the space that the thought or feelings that you don't notice. Because usually you're so darn involved with the thought that you never think about the space it's appearing in. So that's what I love about this is saying, well, what's holding the thought or the feeling? Let's like become aware of that.
What's perceiving the thought?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
Yeah.
perceiving this
Yeah.
feeling?
The space it's appearing in, is it limited?
Which is the thought or feeling. That's what it is. That's all that you can find when a sensation arises is the sensation.
Yeah, it's all sensations. Like if you close your eyes, it's so obvious. Everything is just perceiving sensation. It's all mental.
Yeah.
This is all imagined. And you are the source. You are the source. Everything is. Thank you.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So the seer is the seen.
Yeah.
There's only the seen.
Yeah. Because what is the seen without the seer? It doesn't appear to exist. It is the seer. The seer is existence itself. That which is what you are, always in deep sleep, in wakeness that never dies.
I feel like there's just to put it in a story again, there's a bit of a fear barrier, like Angelo talks about the fear barrier. You can feel it when you sort of approach this emptiness where everything begins to collapse. And it feels kind of like moments of surreal adrenaline. It can feel that way. Like you said, falling out of an airplane. And I feel like we're not ready for that place until we sort of face our feelings. And then that's when it's like, oh, okay, you can handle this. And, just naturally as a pattern, it seems common that it plays
Mm-hmm.
that way.
Yeah, like unfurling, like settling in, opening. It just keeps opening and opening.
Mhm.
There was someone else that talked about how sometimes it's not, it can be too much for it to be all at once. So it can appear as gradual, it's like,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah,
which is beautiful.
I think you would lose your mind if it all happened in one go.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, it did here I got to experience both, which was wild, which was really cool because then I could really break all of it apart and see what was happening and what was being resisted and what resistance is and what I could see very clearly what was covering it up. Because I remember at first I was like, oh my God, it's always been this way. It's always been this. What the hell was covering it up? And then I got the answer for that. It's just that simple misidentification,
Mhm.
with this pure feeling of aliveness, sentience, conscious presence being identified with solely being the avatar, which we cluster together in the body and the thoughts, which are, like just like you're the screen, you're the pure consciousness from which the icons appear and disappear. Well, the icons aren't conscious, they're an illusion. So it was like identifying with an illusion, which was the whole dilemma. And so then it was which is just a thought or a concept. So then it was seeking liberation in a thought and a concept because it externalized it or outsourced it or
Yeah,
objectified it. Yeah.
made it into a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
My gosh, how ironic and funny.
Yeah.
And it's just a sort of claiming energy that's made of thought, but isn't necessarily in language. It's sort of just like a base assumption under thought, like a flavor of thought, you know, the belief in that claiming voice. I did that. That's mine.
Yeah.
I'm
which
responsible.
which is like a delayed reaction or delayed another thought that's 7 seconds later that the previous thought didn't happen. It's wild.
Yeah, and it can also be with an anxiety, like a tension in the body.
I feel like that's the intuition screaming, like all those, like the fear, the resistance, it's just the alarm clock. Like it's just alarming. Error, error. This isn't separate. This
Yeah.
isn't
Like,
happening.
excuse me, hello,
Yeah.
you have a body. It's trying to tell you
I
something.
know. It's like, dude, you already know you're the infinite. Come on.
I wanted to, oh,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that like a metaphor for what's being shared is in order for like a movie set, like think about a saloon. on a movie set. There's not really a saloon there. It's just the sign that says saloon. They got some can music playing on a
Hmm.
record player inside. It's just
Hmm.
a facade. It's just a few things and the mind can like assume the whole thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
So this noticing that we're speaking of is if you just wallow in the feeling, let's say, or you just
Hmm.
wallow in the thought, for me, you're at that perfect distance where the saloon feels real because you didn't investigate it. You just
Hmm.
accepted it. So what we're talking about going into, you would walk up to the saloon facade and like pull on it and see it's all fake and start laughing.
Yeah. It's like a cardboard place setting, or not even that, like a mirage.
Yeah, it's like really investigating with all your senses, not just
Hmm.
thoughts.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. This is non-conceptual. Yeah. This is sensual. And I love the freaking everything's the clue, but the movie theater clue, oh my God, it's too literal. It's like, it's like watching a movie that you've never seen. You have no clue what's going to happen, and you're not in the fucking movie. You're watching the movie uninvolved with what's happening, just in awe of what's happening. It's entertaining, it's beautiful. It's, you know,
Yeah. You can be completely immersed in it.
yeah, and can forget and think you're in the movie. And then you're identifying even like the VR headset when I mean it's all mental. Like you're on a roller coaster on the VR headset. You're not on a fucking roller coaster, but you're still about to puke and you've got the butterflies in your stomach, like this is just perceiving sensations that aren't really happening. Everything's the clue.
Oh, and we don't realize how easily we're tricked. I was in a car wash, one of those box metal containers at a gas station. There's a Shell station,
Hmm.
and you drive through it. Like you're supposed to put your so for some reason, when I'm inside it, it felt like my car was moving. Like when the brushes started rolling backwards and blocking my
Yeah,
feet,
yeah.
the soap suds, I instinctively jammed my foot on the brake, going, ah! And then I started
That's cute.
laughing because I realized I wasn't moving. It was just an
Yeah,
illusion, but it was a good illusion.
it is an illusion. Yeah. Just like when you're driving on the highway and it's obvious you're not moving, you're not going anywhere. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What a convincing illusion. It's amazing. You know, how even the sense of touch, which is solid, is what is solid, like squeezing the face. It's like it feels like there's something, but take away all the senses and the thought. What is there?
Well, I love how you say, Jenny, like, where's my brain? I don't see it. Like I'm looking at your
Yeah.
face and I'm like, well, yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
got my skull open to see my brain. Otherwise,
And then you would render it on the fly, and then it would just magically appear, and you'd be like, oh. But it's all like the sugar pill, the placebo effect. Like when people resonate on it's all the brain, then they'll render evidence of that because all truths are half true, half false. It's like it's all make believe. So it's whatever you resonate on, they'll bring evidence of. Just like people talking about stuff is contagious. There's nothing contagious. There's no one else. You're all alone. You can't catch something from something else that doesn't exist. What would happen is like a mental resonance that would appear to render symptoms. It's all make believe. It's all the sugar
yeah.
pill.
And we're not saying that if I'm sitting at the coffee house and the dude next to me starts coughing, that I'm not going to pull out my mask and put it on. So you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a perfect, I like Leela's word, it's perfectly balanced.
Mm-hmm.
The practical and the thing you can't speak about.
Yeah, even more so, they are each other.
Yeah. No paradox. Yeah. Well, it was, yeah, just saying that it's all playful, it's all malleable, it's all imaginary, it's all one mind, it's all singular, it's all alone.
Yeah, so putting on hand sanitizer is enlightenment.
It's everything. Yeah. And it's only as limited as there's resonance. It's limitless. It's limitless to resonate on being limited.
Mm.
It's all inclusive, which includes excluding. And the
Yeah.
character, that you're not has preferences, and what makes it appear unique on the movie screen. And so all of it's just perfect and beautiful.
Yeah. Anything goes.
Mm-hmm.
However it flows.
Yeah. No right or wrong way. It's every way.
And you can't do it wrong. That's what I love
I
about it.
know. Yeah.
You can't fuck it up, you
You
know?
can't talk it out.
You really can't, because whatever's happening is always like available to feel into.
Yeah.
Always. It's such a revelation.
Mm.
You can't fuck it up, but you can fuck around and find out.
Hey!
Totally. Which is the fun of hide and seek and inquiry and recognizing. But that was also pretty too. It's beautiful. All of it is absolutely stunning. Like I was just laughing the other day because I'm in my I'm in my bedroom with the door shut, telling everyone that there's no world and you don't exist as an individual. And then my boyfriend's in his room with the door shut, saying the complete opposite and making an app to change the world or to help the world that I'm saying isn't real. All of it is perfect because one couldn't appear without the other. It's total perfection. It's
Yeah.
a beautiful balance.
Yeah. Nothing is expressed in an existential way. It's all just there for like art and play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is playful. It is playful.
You can't take
Where,
yourself seriously anymore.
yeah, and the opposites define each other. You can't have one without the other in the dream.
Yeah, what's it like to be without needing to figure anything out?
Mm-hmm.
That can be a terrifying place to approach from another residence.
Yeah. Yeah. What's it like to have an energetic bucket? A free fall, a surrender.
Well, it's like we talk about not knowing or unknowing, but that isn't a doing. That's already our natural state.
Mm-hmm. It is. And it's home sweet home. It's safer than ever. Like it's beyond safe. It's like you're you're the totality. You're eternal, you're immortal, you can never die. It's a total relief.
Yeah, and in the movie, there's no safety, no certainty.
Mm-hmm. Which is part of the fun, the roller coaster.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Is a dream ever really destroyed? Because
I know.
did it ever really exist?
Yeah. Seriously, and it's so funny even that when people talk about reincarnation and then I bring up the dream. I'm like, what do you mean? Is this a dream? Yeah. And you weren't in the dream. The dream didn't even happen. Which is inevitable, it's to recognize this. Even at the death of the dream body, this recognition happens regardless of if it happens before, where it's like, oh my gosh, this was all a dream. None of it even happened. I'm God, I'm the source.
That's why the darkness of deep sleep when you're not dreaming is so powerful.
Mm-hmm. That's you is pot of Brahman. That's one of the biggest clues. It's like that's what you are. And that's what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, even when I was little, I was like, what was I before I was born? And there's something that knows, you know, this is already realized, this is already,
Mm.
and then here comes this beautiful dream so that you can see yourself as the invisible. What were you gonna say?
It doesn't need to know because it is.
Mm-hmm. You can only be it. Yeah. Can y'all hear the sounds in this room? Oh, funny.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it. We're all at the tea house.
Yeah, it's like I would almost want to edit them in if they weren't there.
Yeah. All of it's so perfect. I love how it can appear to be just divinely orchestrated, everything. Like when there's no resistance and there's just flow, you can see how perfect everything is. It's just like even coming in this tea house, the boys sat at this table that was too small for me to fit my laptop inside. Then I found a different table, and then you texted, "Let's do an impromptu Zoom." And I'm like, hell yeah, perfect. Everything's just amazing. Love it. It's all ordinary.
Yeah. And it's all miraculous too.
Yeah. Yeah, all of it. Even the washing dishes or scraping ice off the car. It's heaven. It's all heaven. Even crying on the phone.
I have to say, especially as a guy, because I would guess we probably don't cry as much, but
Mhm.
I'll tell you something. It's like taking an internal shower
Oh yeah, it does feel good. It's so good to not resist anything. Yeah.
because I felt like it was reaching areas that the intellectual mind, and Leela and I were talking about spiritual bypassing as a thing, like you don't even know you're doing it.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that was so funny because I was like, I would hear about spiritual bypassing when I was seeking, and I was like, oh, those poor fools. But I was doing it.
That's awesome.
When intense emotions would come up, I would try to push them away and say, nobody's here.
Yeah, yeah.
This
I'm
isn't
nothing.
real.
I'm nothing, which is
And
nihilistic.
it's
Yeah.
like bullying the appearance,
Hmm.
or the appearance bullying itself.
Hmm.
Um,
Another hide and
what
seek
says
game.
it shouldn't be this way? Nothing says it shouldn't be this way when it appears.
Yeah. Well, there's still an identity in there
Yes.
that resisting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, it's predictable, right? Because I identified as a separate me, which felt really contracted. Oh, so I'm everything. So that felt more expansive, or I'm nothing, like that somehow was a bigger concept, if you get my drift. It's still a concept, but somehow you
Hmm.
could see why the me would do that. Oh, there's no me. So that's like a little lifeboat I can jump to that feels a little
Hmm.
better. But after some time, that lifeboat will not work anymore. You'll still feel contract. And eventually this does itself, like this pops itself.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
then there's that focusing on the feeling. I'm alive. I exist. I am, which involuntarily, spontaneously happens. Um, and then it's seen that in that silence, without thought, that you're not the character. You're not. It's like seeing the relative seeing itself as absolute, and then it's too obvious.
And it sounds funny to say when you said it, you're not that character. Well, which character are we even speaking of? Is it the character? Like, because if you notice, your looks are changing every second. You never look the same, right? You notice how we're
Hmm.
right? You call it aging.
Mm-hmm.
So there actually is not a static you,
Yeah,
that
I
thought is
know.
referring to.
That's why I had the hardest time, even when I was younger. I didn't know who I was. I was like, it was constant, it was spontaneous, it was shifting moods and changing, and like I couldn't keep up with it. And I was like, what is this? Because I could see how other people were hardcore identified with, but it was always tricky for me. It's like I couldn't box it into one identity or something.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when you look for it, you can't find it because it's an illusion. And it's fleeting, temporary, like images on a screen. Because everyone already knows this. That's why there's that initial resistance to identifying with the finite sensation of the body or the thoughts, because you already know that you are.
Hmm.
Yeah, like energetically or really
Mm-hmm.
deep subconsciously or something. Yeah. It's too intelligent to fathom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how good the illusion is, because I remember as a kid walking around going, there's something off about this life thing, but I just can't put my finger on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I smelled a rat early on. Like I'm like,
Mm-hmm. Me
just
too. Me
something
too.
about it just doesn't pan out. Like,
Yeah. I was always questioning. I was like, what is this? Like, why do I have a body? Like, what is the point of this? What are we doing here? I was always
Yeah.
asking that. I was like, I gotta figure this shit out. And no one knew. That pissed me off. Like all the adults, they didn't fucking know.
This made me snort, Jenny.
That's awesome.
Because I remember just being like flabbergasted. Like I'm supposed to understand this, you know?
So funny.
he said flabbergasted.
Mm-hmm. Tears of joy and futility.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember recognizing this, and it just was so obvious. And I was like, oh my God, what was covering it up? It's just always been this. I've always been home. This is what I am. This pure, non-conceptual, infinite omnipresence. Like, and then I could see very clearly, oh my gosh, I'm God dreaming this. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I'm appearing as everything in the dream. And I just wanted to give everything a hug. And it was just so in love and sensual too. It was very almost erotic in a way initially for this whatever. It's just like because I could see that through everything, like even one thought, it was like total ecstasy. It was like, oh my God, this is, you know, I'm making love to myself through everything, through beingness.
Yeah.
Everything that's arising in consciousness is heaven. This is fucking heaven. And then I didn't speak for the first couple of days, actually, very much. I was like, I have a picture. My best friend, we talked every day, and it was like I couldn't even think to call her. It was like I was in almost like, I mean, it was overwhelmingly beautiful. I just couldn't believe that I hadn't seen it like this already, or even though this has always been this way. But I didn't call her, so she showed up at my house, and she has a picture of the look in the eyes that captured all of it. But one of the first things I said was, "We're all one, and this is just for fun." It's just like it's just for fun. I love it.
Yeah, that is kind of a revelation when you realize that every moment can be, It doesn't mean you're always going to agree with it or like it, but there's a joy that even, like, oh, I didn't see that coming. But
Mm-hmm.
that joy, that innocence, that childlike wonder doesn't go away once you discover it. You're like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
look at that. Where'd that come from? How'd that happen?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so alive and immediate and intimate, beyond intimacy, not separate. So it's like even a pain can be like, oh, what's that?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah. Awareness is innocent, always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
It just kind of goes to the shiniest object, you know.
Ha ha ha.
From where it sees itself. Yeah, it's all the mirror.
No, it does, like Leela, but literally, like think of a baby in a bassinet, like a little one, 6-month-old baby, and it sees that. What's the thing they hang where the kid can look at
Mm-hmm.
shiny objects?
The mobile.
The
Yeah.
mobile, yeah. So you can imagine consciousness laying there on its back, just
Mm-hmm.
minding its own business, and innocently becomes aware of something reflecting, like some light
Yeah.
catching. It's like, oh, what is that?
Yeah, and it's the mirror where you can see yourself as the awareness. It's beautiful. Like it bounces off of the object of awareness to see itself, which is just up here. You're illuminating, you're rendering.
We tried to have a topic, but we always come back to the wonder of this and the mystery of this, don't
Yeah.
we?
Yeah, have fun making plans. I love it. We always do that too. We'll have a topic and well, and then sometimes we won't even mention what the topic, it's just doing itself
Well,
spontaneously.
there's no feeling of needing to, there's no feeling of like a message that needs to be heard or anything. It's just, you
Yeah, there's no one to convince. There's no one. It's just in loveness.
yeah.
Wow. What a boy, what an amazing spontaneous Zoom this has been.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I freaking love it. Thank
Awesome. Good
you.
idea. Good idea, self.
Thank you.
Love
Me,
you.
us,
Love,
one.
love you guys so much.
Love you. Mwah. Big hug.
Mwah.
Love you too.
Yay.
Have a
Bye,
good day.
guys. You
Talk to you
too.
soon.
Okay.